You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Welcome, listeners, to another episode of All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on BQN and the Fandom Podcast Network. I'm your host, Terran Emperor Kelvin, and with me today, it's Augment Amy, Cameloid Christos, and keeping us on the straight and narrow, it's Starfleet's finest Chaos Goblin, Kristin. Hello, Amy. You're not in Las Vegas.
No, I am not. Gosh, if only this was on YouTube, you would see that Christos and I are in the same house.
I know. It's interesting podcasting at my station with somebody else sitting next to me.
It is.
Encroaching on your personal space. Wonderful. And Kristin, how are you?
I'm good, and I'm just realizing I had planned to be in Vegas this weekend. So if I had shown up and you weren't there, I'd have been like,
Oh,
what the what? No, but my friend and his boyfriend went down to meet their parents, and he texted me. He's like, I'm so glad you're not here. And I was like, what's going on? He's like, Trump is here.
yeah.
I was like, oh, ooh. So I'm glad I didn't go because you wouldn't have been there and he's there. There's nothing in Vegas for me.
Talk about trading down.
Right? Ooh, so
I can just about cope with seeing Amy in Christos's living room, but if then you were to pop up with Amy's background podcast studio on today, that would really mess with my mind.
Right.
Talk about mirror universe.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, that would have been funny. But I'd be knocking on it like, Amy, I'm here.
I'm here for the studio. Let me in.
Well, let us start proceedings, if we shall, with a little bit of great joy and gratitude.
Great joy and gratitude.
Which we really need to cling on to this week. So, Amy, Christos, why don't you start us off, please?
Well, as we said, my great joy and gratitude is my Star Trek family, and seeing Christos and Stephen, who is host of Galaxy Class coming up. He came out from New York, so got to see a lot of my Trek family. So happy and grateful that Christos is hosting. His place is the best.
Hence, all these people are going to be hitting me up. Hey, I'm coming for the weekend. So I'm going to ditto Amy, just jump on right after and say, it's fun having a Trek buddy here. We, aside from, our normal shenanigans of running around, of course, we watched Section 31 together. But we've also, like this morning, we watched Spock Amok and just while we're having our coffee and
laughing so
and we watched
much.
Subspace Rhapsody yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's been a little fun just to turn on random Trek and have somebody in the room with you.
Yeah.
You did go out. You didn't just spend all weekend watching TV.
No, we tore up Hillcrest here in San Diego for about 8 or 9 hours yesterday. I think we definitely contributed to the local economy, especially the local bar economy.
Brilliant. And what's going on in Canada, Kristin? How have you been this week?
This has been a week, and everything has just been a struggle this week. Work, everything. So this, I'm so happy just to be here this morning and just being around and with people that I love. My great joy and gratitude this week, I'm gonna have to throw it out just to Justin. He's amazing. So I had a really bad day yesterday. And so after everything was kind of done and over, I was like, I just kind of want to go. It was late at night. So there's one thrift store open. I was like, I kind of just want to go thrifting. He's like, then I'm going to take you thrifting. And he hates thrift stores. He hates them. And he walked around with me and we went around for about an hour and he just let me be me. And it meant a lot. So yeah, that's my great. And I got some good stuff for Stitches. I got a really cute linen skirt and a little jumper for lounging around. So I'm really excited.
Ooh.
I know.
Amazing.
But really, it was just the fact that he was like, hey, I'm hanging out with my best friend. If my best friend wants to go thrifting, we're going to go thrifting. So he's my great joy and gratitude, I think, every day. But particularly this week.
Well, I can't claim anything as joyous as Justin. But I had a funny story. I was at the gym a couple of days ago, and there's a new personal trainer at the gym, and he's really hot.
Ooh.
And I added him on Instagram, and he did the same. And he came over and like broke the ice talking to me, saying, so I see you're into Star Trek. I used to watch Star Trek Voyager. And he kind of said it like really casually and like, you know, almost an extended fist pump as he walked past. That was it. As soon as he said that, I started talking. I didn't shut up. I had him stood there for about 10 minutes. There were people waiting to use my kit, and I was just like between sets. So I broke all the gym etiquette and became a little bit of a geek, showing myself up.
I actually got a text from my younger brother. He has his son is 12 or 13, and apparently a week or two ago when it was Caretaker's anniversary, and I think I had texted about it, he watched Caretaker and his son watched it with them. Apparently my nephew Nico has been watching Star Trek Voyager like on repeat pretty much straight through, not even skipping episodes or anything. So I'm like, I think we got one.
Yes.
Reel them in. Yeah.
Well, speaking of reeling them in, why don't we say what we're doing today? It might be obvious from what's been going on in the Star Trek world and from the introduction, but for those who have not yet cottoned on, Amy, would you mind telling us what the subject of today's episode is, please?
Well, we are continuing our movies series, and this is part 2, and of course, talking section 31. The synopsis, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure please watch it before listening, but there will be spoilers. But section 31 tries to recruit Philippa Georgiou in their attempts to secure the Godsend, a weapon of mass destruction from the Terran Empire. Meanwhile, a somewhat scarred face from the past returns to haunt the former empress of the Terran Empire.
Oh,
It's spoilery in that synopsis.
Yeah.
That's why I gave the spoiler warning.
No, is that's the real synopsis from Paramount?
no, I made that.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay, that's okay then. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, that synopsis like gives away a big plot point. If that were like a lot of times we copy and paste those.
The helmet was on for about 10 minutes. It wasn't that bad. And we saw it anyway. Let's not get started before we get started. I would like to start before we get into the plot and our thoughts around section 31. Clearly, we knew this was going to be a movie instead of a series. And it's kind of introduced this concept of like a long trek, if you think of we had the short treks during Discovery. So if TV movies are now going to be a thing and this is the first, it got me thinking, what would your Star Trek adjacent or even closer to Star Trek kind of long trek be about? While you're thinking, I'm just going to say I've had a little bit of time to think about this. I would love a series on like temporal investigations. And I'm assuming here that budget is no object. But I like the idea of like following a team of temporal agents jumping between timelines. So you could visit certain big moments in Star Trek history, a bit like, you know, in First Contact, going to First Contact, and it being some kind of undermining of the past. So a bit like Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, what we said, but a series more around that of trying to keep the timeline intact. So that would be my long trek movie, and it would be very, very Star Trek-y because it'd be visiting every big moment in Star Trek.
So your Star Trek movie would almost be like our version of Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they're trying to fix the timeline and going back, and that would be amazing. I love that idea.
His version would be the movie First Contact.
Yeah. Oh, it's also sounding a little bit Quantum Leap, so I might have to bring Scott Bakula into the story somehow.
Okay. No complaints there.
What about you guys? Have you got any thoughts?
I'll jump in since I've always wanted to see like a medical crisis movie where they have to bring, kind of an all-star cast of some of our doctors together in some medical ships. Like there would be some big viral thing that they're trying to, you can make universe-ending stakes go along with it, and the Starfleet Medical Corps has to get involved, and I could see that being a legacy movie, maybe with Admiral Crusher, but then bringing in some of the youngers. Like maybe she's the Charlie's Angels, Charlie giving orders and stuff, but then you have your younger crew out doing things.
Yeah, like an intergalactic outbreak.
Yeah, there was a really cool comic book, like 5-part series about 10, 15 years ago, and it brought Bashir and Crusher and Pulowski and even really old Admiral McCoy together, and they had a very similar premise. They had, the all-star team had to go solve a big problem, and I think too much time has passed now for those actors to be able to get together. Obviously, Dr. DeForest Kelly's long gone, and I think Diana Muldaur is really up there in years. But this would be a different take on that.
Yeah. How would you feel about Carl Urban jumping universes to be McCoy in this and have it as a Prime and Kelvin timeline mashup?
You could have, if you can make that work in a way that we can digest it, I think that'd be really cool.
It's your long track.
I like
manifest it. And what are we contributing, Kristin? What are you fantasizing about for a TV movie?
Well, I'll give you one hint what character would be the lead in my movie. I mean, I'm a very predictable person. So mine would pretty much be Garak regaining favor with the Cardassians, and him either coming back into favor with those in power, or he just starts his rule of the Cardassian Empire. I think it would be really cool if there was something where he finally is able to come out of his shunning, and he just like
brilliant
becomes ruler or something, and then happily ever after. I would happily live under Garak's rule all day, every day.
Oh,
so do you think like his exile, his part in ending the Dominion War, as long as that story gets out there, I'm sure he's a hero of the Cardassian people.
Yeah, but I would still find that there's probably a lot of bad blood still remaining on Cardassia. There'd probably still be a lot of fake news going around, and so how does he work through all that? And maybe as he's, or maybe, oh no, I got it, it just came to me. As he's returning back to Cardassia as a hero from the Dominion War, and he enters into sort of like the high echelon of society, he starts to find all this corruption, and that's when the fighting starts. He's like, what am I coming home to? This is not okay. Let's fix this. Movie. There we go.
Get her to the writer's room.
I love it. So we've got our Beverly Crusher movie, Garak movie, right? Amy, tell us, what's Councillor Troy doing in your TV movie?
Yes. Well, of course I would say something like that. And I did. I wanted something that's, this behavioral aspect to it, because I'm a big sucker for movies like NCIS, or TV shows, NCIS, and like Criminal Minds, that behavioral aspect. So let's get Troy, who's starting a team and going to help rehabilitate or, get inside someone's mind to help them and make a better world.
Nice.
No, it's no, but that's what I want.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, Paramount, if you're listening, we need more long treks. This can't be the only one. There's lots of good ideas out there in the fandom, so get on with it. Right, okay, shall we go there? Let's talk Section 31. Now, the positive is all four of us have seen it, so we've got lots of opinions, I'm sure. Before we get into the opinion piece, shall we start with just a little bit of a rundown of the main principal cast and crew? Who are they? So let's go. I've obviously not used everyone in the film. I'm just thinking of the main team of the agents from Section 31. So starting off with Alok Sahar, played by Omar Hardwick. He's revealed as an augment, and he's leader of this kind of Section 31 unit. So, Amy, what did you think of the character? Any moments of reflection, thoughts?
You know, I liked his chemistry with Michelle Yeoh.
Okay.
Yeah. I really felt there was this automatic sort of a trust between them that was superior than the others. And I'm sure it was, made that way because he's the lead, of that little unit. I didn't really understand there was a lot of shape shifting. It confused me. So he can change?
No. That's Cyclonoid.
Oh, yeah.
Augmented.
This is the one who's the augment from basically Constantine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, that's and then I was like, oh, augments. Then that brought it in, and it was a lot of issues with these characters.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
What were your impressions, Christos?
Well, it just occurred to me. I've seen the movie twice, so I'm getting deeper into thought about it. But like the whole fact that he is an augment, I mean, first off, that's not only a Section 31 Black Ops, of course, and it's not supposed to be, official, but we actually have a genetically engineered person, which goes against the Starfleet code on a Starfleet team. I mean, just throwing that out there. I did like the character. I felt like although he was the leader of Section 31 and Michelle Yeoh was the star, they definitely stood out as, maybe he stood out as a higher star of the movie as well. And as the team lead, I liked him.
Good.
A little arrogant at times, but I liked him.
He's an augment.
Yeah.
Kristin, what do you think?
I think him and Michelle Yeoh were the only two characters in that entire movie to have any chemistry. Otherwise, it was a bunch of characters saying lines and moving around as being directed. There was no I didn't feel like they were aligning with their role or anything except for him. So I really appreciated that. I also was like, you got to friggin' be kidding me at the end when, huge spoiler coming up, listeners, when he gets stabbed. And I was like, you're not killing off the only decent freaking character, are you? You got to be kidding me. So anyway, yeah, he was the only new character that I would care to see again in that form.
So, Kristin, did you not like the chemistry between Giorgio and San?
Who's San? Sorry.
The boyfriend?
No, I didn't think there was. Well, young. The two young ones. I felt like that was cute. But the older guy, I don't know. I don't know. No, I didn't feel any chemistry between those two characters at all.
The one scene that really got me where I'm like, okay, I could see this work. Because you're right. I agree with you. As I was watching Giorgio and San, it wasn't until they were fighting and Giorgio chose to give him a big hug, in the fight scene. And that broke me. I was like, oh my gosh. And I loved that scene. But I do have to agree with you that chemistry was sort of off between them.
Yeah, there was no romantic chemistry considering this is supposed to be. Well, sorry, we're jumping ahead here.
We are, but I'm going to actually pick up with that. So I felt they tried to force a romance with Alok and with Giorgio.
Jojo.
It
At
was
the
almost
end,
like, yes, they had chemistry, the actors, but it was almost like these two are going to be romantically involved, and the whole holding hands at the end, and it was very flirtatious. And I just felt, had it been a series, that probably would have been a plot point of them two getting together, or at least having bumpy time.
And while we're on that, there's elements of this movie, and we should start a short list of how many things from other movies are ripped off and put into this movie. The holding hands with they've only known each other for a few days, and now they've formed a relationship, and now they're holding hands right before they die, which they don't die, but they think they're about to die.
Yeah.
This very end of Rogue One, where Jin and Andor are holding hands as the Death Star is about to blow up the Scarif, and it's literally the same shot from them holding hands from behind and waiting to die.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who would argue that this film had closer connections and resemblance to the Star Wars franchise than it did Star Trek. It was quite dirty and, rugged and not very, very Star Wars in appearance.
Yeah.
Back to character.
Yeah.
You mentioned about the augment thing not making sense, and he was in Section 31. So in terms of timeline, you could kind of say maybe he then set the precedent for Bashir coming into Section 31, because they've thought, let's recruit another augment.
Yeah. Oh, I like that connection.
I mean, it's also post Una as well.
Yeah.
So there's already been a precedent set that there's been exceptions.
Yeah. I thought the cast were, no offense to any of them, were largely unknown to me.
Yeah.
Does anyone know Omar Hardwick from any of the other work that he's done? Is anyone recognizing? Because I felt he was a tremendous actor, and this is probably one of only two of the newer characters that I would really like to see more of. Nobody know him? No, I didn't bother doing any research on what he's been in, so let's just give him his props. He's a great actor.
He is a great actor. He was born January 9th, 1974. And some of his known fours include Army of the Dead, Kick-Ass, which I've seen. So I've seen something with him. Sorry to Brother You, Mr. Blank. That's random. And Power. Power looks good.
Brilliant. Kristin, you keep that Google open. We're going to need this as we go on.
Absolutely.
1974. He's 50. Yeah. Oh my God. He looks good.
That is a stunning specimen of the human race, I will say right there.
Well, speaking of specimen, let's move on to our next character, Quasi. Not Quasimodo, Quasi Cameloid. It is played by Sam Richardson. I didn't really know what to make of this character. I really don't think they made the most of him being a Cameloid. I think he changed form twice. And I didn't understand the psychology of the character when they kept saying he's in his head, and I didn't get it. Help me out, Amy, or the counselor. What was going on with this character?
Well, I think Quasi, he is indecisive, right? He looks at all the options and it just sort of overwhelms him.
Overanalyzes.
Yeah, overanalyzes. So I think, but when I think about, the other more famous Cameloid was in
The Undiscovered Country.
Yeah. Undiscovered Country. Right? And is there another Cameloid?
Nope.
So this is, so we don't really even know about their species, but now we've got this one who's very indecisive and A, B, C, which one to pick?
And do you think that is someone who can be anything would struggle deciding what you want to be? So like maybe your chosen form, what you look like when you're not impersonating something else. That, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm going with. I don't know. What do you think, Christos?
Well, if I had to describe the character with one word, it would be meh. I mean, it's really just, it's what a lost opportunity to have a good character. He just literally fell in the background for me because he never did anything. And the indecisiveness got annoying and old really fast. When you think that he's a shapeshifter like Odo, and we see how helpful Odo could be when he needed to be. this could have been a very pivotal character to help them, and it just really fell flat. Very, very meh.
Yeah, Kristin.
Going back to the whole meh thing, that was actually my feeling of this whole movie. When it was done, I literally was just sitting there, just like, meh. Okay, that was the thing. Anyway, but going back, when we look at Iman, sorry, I forget her character's name, but I just know it was played by the fabulous Iman, in Undiscovered Country, how her being a Kamaloid added so much to the plot, to their escape, and to all of that.
Yes.
She
was used well.
Yes. Are you telling? So this is the only other time we've seen this species since 1991, and this is what they did with it. You have to freaking be kidding! Like, what a missed opportunity indeed. Like Christos and Amy have said, I was waiting for something. Also, I didn't like the effects where he kind of like the stuff like shoots out and then comes back in or whatever. When we saw the effects back in Undiscovered Country were actually much smoother and more realistic looking when she morphed.
Agreed. I wish they'd have maintained that.
Yeah.
As a nod to the character. I know production's moved on, but
you
clearly the production from all them years ago was better.
Yeah, you didn't need to try and zhuzh up the Kamaloid so I found that was weird. And then I don't know if this has ever been established because the Kamaloid species hasn't been examined or like looked at that deep, but Odo can do both like animated sentient beings as well. He can be things, right? Can Kamaloids be things, or can they just be living creatures? Christos,
didn't he turn himself into a big net at one point
I might have missed
that one scene to catch somebody when they were in the high-speed chase thing through the tunnels of that planet?
He became a net.
I thought, okay.
Yeah,
I have to admit, I was cross-stitching a lot through this movie, so I might have missed it.
Yeah, I thought somebody fell off and he turned himself into a big net and kind of caught the person.
I don't recall that. I'll have to go back and check.
Did anybody watch it twice?
No.
I caught a lot the second time because I was probably in the Kristin situation. It was so boring. I wasn't probably paying as great attention the first time. Yeah. So watching it a second time, it helped a lot.
Okay.
And with subtitles.
And with subtitles, yes, that helped.
Are we at the stage where we all need subtitles now? Like, what is happening?
It's not an age thing. It's how fast they're talking. Like
that's true.
I noticed the way Kelvin typed "godsend." I know it's one word, which was kind of funny because that was a whole comedy pub point.
The godsend, God's end thing was probably my favorite part of the entire movie. That discussion.
You stole my assimilation.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Amy. I'm so sorry.
We can restate the point when we get to that. Sam Richardson, does anyone recognize this actor? I recognize the name.
I feel like I have.
So I have my IMDb open.
Thank you, love.
He was born January 12th, 1984, fellow year of the rat. So he just turned 40. And he has been in such fantastic films as Hocus Pocus 2.
Ooh.
He played a pretty big role in Veep. He was in 40 episodes of Veep. And this is also not his first time dabbling in Star Trek. He actually voiced in two episodes of Lower Decks. So he was in season 1, episode 3, Temporal Edict. And he was in season 3, episode 10, The Stars at Night.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I'll see if I can find who played in each one. Vendome.
Probably would have been the Klingon in Temporal Edict, I imagine.
So was that Vendome?
Yeah.
He was in Ted Lasso.
And he was in Ted Lasso, yeah. And then The Stars at Night, he played... Where is he? Oh, Vendome again.
There we go. Well, that's good. That's good. At least he's part of the family then. Let's move on.
I recognized him a little bit.
I recognize his face. Yeah.
Let's move on to my favorite character of the movie, to Zeph.
Are you being serious?
Mechanoid. This is mainly because I know this actor. He had a role on a UK soap opera for many years. So he was on EastEnders. For any of our UK listeners will recognise, he was Sean Slater. So for him to get this part, it was quite exciting for the Brits to see. But also in seeing all of these interviews that he's done, he's a massive Trekkie. He's so into Star Trek. And he says because he is autistic, he has got a really weird memory with facts, and he can remember every detail about every Star Trek episode he's seen. So I'm like, I love him. It's someone like me. So I was really, really excited, and I liked that he was the comic relief character in the film, in my opinion. So yeah, I this was an aspect I did enjoy, and I'm happy for Rob Kaczynski that he got a good part. But I'm kind of sad that this is probably all he'll do. I can't imagine him coming back. So you all seem quite shocked when I said I felt he was the best.
Yeah.
Coming to you, Amy. Did you not like this character?
Yeah, I felt he was meh. I didn't
Well, we've got to
find
stop saying this, otherwise it's going to be a very long episode.
meh. I just didn't feel like his role was important in any way. I didn't understand his purpose on the team, to be honest.
I just thought he was like the security officer, of any, you've got a science officer, if we're trying to impose a little bit of Trek on it, in any team, you'd have a leader, you'd have a scientist, a security. So I felt he was security / engineer with it being tech.
But here's my issue with him is he's in this gigantic suit. So he sticks out like a freaking sore thumb. And Section 31's supposed to be this Black Ops clandestine group. But yet you walk in and you're like, look at this big mofo over here. Like, they don't blend.
He's the well, and Giorgio calls that right out in the beginning. Like, you got all these people in my bar that stick right out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as the and they kind of let on that the whole mechanoid muscle thing is somewhat addictive. It can become a thing. Like, we've seen that in other shows where body dysmorphia or other things can be addictive. For me, though, he kind of reminded me, and this isn't going to be a good thing. He reminded me of like a live action incarnation of like Bebop and Rocksteady from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I love you.
Probably why I love him.
I love you for bringing that in.
I have both of them on my
But
wall.
am I wrong, Kristin?
You're not wrong. I was actually thinking it was a sad attempt to be RoboCop. But he was not RoboCop.
I think maybe the production and the design of the suit maybe let it down. It could have been the concept of body dysmorphia with technology, like you're addicted to wearable tech, could be so cool if it was a little bit more animated and sexier looking. But it was so boxy and bulky and heavy. I agree that the aesthetic of it wasn't great, but I like the concept, I like the character, I like the comedy.
I think Dadano, his makeup, the like guy that died in that horrible explosion, that was kind of a icky scene. I think that would have been a better way to go about that, showing how he's like integrated it into his skin and his body more, as opposed to just it looked like a suit that he just steps into every morning. I totally missed the fact that he had done that to himself. I thought it was a suit.
Yeah.
I missed it too.
So
let's move on to the Red Lady herself, Lieutenant Rachel Garrett. Thoughts? We'll start with you, Christos.
I really wanted to like Rachel Garrett, and I did to a certain extent. I liked where they went with the chaos and, how Giorgio kind of like psychoanalyzed her, but got it right. I like that she's like the Starfleety one, but I just felt maybe the actress wasn't the best. Like, I felt like maybe the actress could have done more with the part, but I liked in theory what Rachel Garrett was supposed to be to the team and her contributions. I just thought the acting wasn't so great, in my humble opinion. Sorry, Casey, Roll, or whoever you are.
Just to do a little bit of a continuity timeline check. So this is set 20 years before yesterday's Enterprise. So in 20 years' time, she goes through the temporal rift. while captaining the Enterprise C. So we are plenty of years before we get to Trisha O'Neill's version. Kristin, what did you think of Rachel Garrett?
Again, I'm right on line with Christos. They called her the Chaos Goblin. I did not pick up any of that whatsoever. I felt her very stiff. I did not feel like she exuded any of Rachel Garrett, the one that we know, any of her gravitas. I feel bad. Casey is a fellow BC girl like me. But I don't want to be, but was her character a little bit too young? I almost don't know if no. Yes. What do you think, Christos?
No. Meh. I'm trying to figure out, like, is this the character that in 20 years is going to be able to make the call to believe Jean-Luc Picard and go on that leap? And is she on that trajectory to become that? And I feel like she is this person who's going to just believe a complete stranger and be convinced to take her ship and her crew to their death.
And I also have a huge issue that somebody from Section 31 somehow is then trusted enough, considering the things that they may have been forced to do throughout their tenure in Section 31, to captain a starship. Is this the first time that we've ever heard of someone from Section 31 moving from that into a high rank in Starfleet?
No, Malcolm Reed. Malcolm Reed was in Section 31 in Enterprise, and then obviously became head of security. And if you believe Beta Canon, went on to be a captain. So there's a few precedents. When you said about gravitas, obviously she's not really in a leadership role. She's only a lieutenant. So do you think that in the 20 years we've not seen, that's where she develops this leadership, this presence, and becomes Trisha O'Neill? That's kind of what that's what I'm choosing to think. But you're right. I didn't think a huge amount of this character, which was such a pull for Trekkies, that we are exploring the backstory of Rachel Garrett. You mentioned earlier about subtitles. I wish I'd have put subtitles on when they were playing with that doll at the end, the rescue plan. I didn't get it. I didn't get it until after I've been watching reviews and breakdowns and things of the film. It only made sense after I finished watching. So whether that was the dialogue, the production, or the delivery by Casey, I don't know. But it didn't work for me. What do you think, Amy?
I'm gonna disagree a little bit. I really do feel like at this point in her training, obviously she's on the Section 31, she's analyzing and thinking about what does it take to make a crew. Because when I think of yesterday's Enterprise, like, she is passionate about her crew. Like, she's like, I'm gonna go back to being captain, get me out of this medical bay. And like, her passion for leading, I think, really comes through this. And especially when you said like that rift, like, she's already familiar with these rifts. So if Captain Picard is going to ask her to, close the rift in his timeline, she's like, oh yeah, we had to do that before and things worked out okay, So I think it really does add to the complexity of her yesterday's Enterprise when we get to see her training and like, is she going to trust Giorgio immediately? Like, this is her team. How do I fit in? She's definitely young, I will give you that, and just a lieutenant. But I think that seeing this, and I think she could have done a little bit more, but seeing her just really reflects on how she is as a captain in yesterday's Enterprise. I liked her character. The acting, they maybe could have chosen a different one and it might have been stronger, because Casey role, I don't know, there was just something off with her. But I like the character of Rachel Garrett.
Love that. Let's move on to Fuzz then, if we may. I don't want to start off on this because I'm just going to absolutely vomit on this character, I'm afraid.
Was this the Vulcan?
This is the Vulcan robot with a nano thinking inside. There's a lot going on here.
I remember,
Kristin, start us off.
Justin watched the first, I want to say 15 minutes of the movie with me. And then he was like, I'm out. And it was right about the time where they were introducing Fuzz. And I remember looking at him and going, what in the Men in Black ripoff is going on right now?
Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, this is Men in Black.
Yeah.
We've got Men in Black, and then we've got Rogue One, and we've got Guardians of the Galaxy.
And I was actually going to say the whole bar with a blue singer. I'm like,
Fifth Element.
Hello. So anyway, I just thought that there were so many ripoffs of other movies that it wasn't tracked. But anyway, going back to Fuzz, I hated. And here's the thing:
got out of the wrong side of bed this morning.
I hated his hair.
Oh,
I hated the blonde. What is no?
That's probably the only thing I liked about the character.
Funny.
He looked like a 90s boy band reject.
Yes, that blonde was
Nick
not
Carter.
combed at all. It was brassy. He needed some purple shampoo immediately. It was everything about, and then the Irish accent coming in. I was like,
Oh,
I'm dying. Every time he talked, I was like, can someone just kill him?
yes, please.
Please, just kill him.
Yeah.
And I love Vulcans.
Yeah.
Really?
Amy, what do you think of him? Amy, are you going to redeem Fuzz after Kristin's character assassination?
No, I cannot. He's unredeemable in this one. Sorry. Got nothing for you.
I feel like maybe our whole dais may be in agreement finally on a character. I was more interested in the fact that at the end of the movie, his wife was in the other body, and I was more interested in the wife as a character than I was about Fuzz.
Going to find her baby daddy.
Yeah. You know what? I think they could have made this a lot more interesting if they were going for like the little organism inside controlling the outer shell. They could have brought back the conspiracy aliens.
Yeah.
And they could have, and give a little bit more explanation and backstory to them.
There we go.
They'd made contact, they've recruited one of them and have them as the Bluegills instead.
I would have been freaking stoked on that.
Yep.
The only time I liked Fuzz was when his character was on that autopilot.
Well, when he didn't speak.
Well, he spoke
okay.
Sometimes, but it was just much more Vulcan.
Well, let's finish off the motley crew with Mel, who was the Delton. So, Christos, start us, please. What did you think of the ill-fated Mel?
I like her. I think obviously we barely saw her on screen, right? She was gone 15 minutes into the movie, I think. I would have loved to see more of her. I feel like, we haven't really truly seen Deltons since Star Trek: The Motion Picture and really got to explore that. I know the Deltons kind of became the Betazoids in Trek when they created Troy. But I would have loved to have seen more. I don't know that I necessarily like what it says for women that your superpower is seducing men or seducing anybody. But, it's something that's obviously been out there for almost 45 years now. And I would have loved to have seen us explore the species more and to have it 15 minutes short. That's all it was.
But they didn't do that. They not only killed her, so we reduced screen time, but they came straight in with it's a Delton. They can seduce anyone. They didn't even attempt to give us anything more. It was bald head and sexy. That's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And go ahead, Amy.
And I was just so surprised when I saw that because, we've already been through this whole swing of Orions, right? The Orion sex slave trade, and they're sexy and they dance and men fall in love with them. And we've spent all this years, decades, okay, the Orions can be scientists. Amazing, right? So we got away from that. And then here we are back in 1950s where women have control over men. I'm like, no, we got over that with the Orion. So it was really jarring as a woman to see this on screen again. So the only thing I will good thing I can think of is like she's in control. She's knowing she's using it on purpose for this mission for Section 31. And if it's her choice, then more power.
Yeah.
I also,
Kristin?
well, I was going to add, sorry, we're all pulling over each other. Sorry, guys. I was going to add too, I didn't like that Giorgio got blamed for her death because I feel like everybody's responsible for what they're doing here. And funny, the minute she doesn't have her superpower, she's bad with the phaser and gets herself killed. So, you know, it's another like weak woman type trope there that's like, no, she got herself killed because, you know, she took a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah. Christos, you kind of touched on what I was going to bring up is like, that was her one crazy power was this seducing thing. And even that I was like, well, you're not that good at it, apparently. But also like they did that weird, like the music changed when she's making the eyes. It suddenly did this like little tinkle music. And I was like, this isn't I Dream of Jeannie. What are we? Or Bewitched with the nose flick. Like, what are we? No. And anyway, girl can pull off a bald head though.
Yes, there we go. We said
right. We
like,
found a positive.
There we go. Not every girl can rock a buzz cut. This girl, look, she actually. I'm looking at a picture of her with hair on IMDb. I think she looks better bald.
Wow, interesting.
There's my plus point for her. Other than that, Amy, you're right. We've seen no growth in this species since way back when, and it's disappointing. It was disappointing.
Yeah.
Wasn't the other character the one they interrogate with the Nadato? Is that their name?
Data no.
Data no. First off, don't even get into that data. Here we go again. But that character was dealt in too, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, he was.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. But
I missed that plot point.
And they killed him too.
And no power, and we didn't see him try to use his powers at all because maybe that would have been an interesting way to see him try to get out of that. But
maybe all the implants made it hard.
But,
interesting.
I mean, and then we get into the whole data thing again. So was that like kind of a plug at someone taking a jab at Pawlowski?
Right. Moving on. Let's go on to the star of the show, Giorgio. Michelle Yeoh, this was her film, Oscar-winning Best Actress, handed this flop. Do we think, or were we happy, Christos? I know we were talking about this not too long ago. Were you happy with where she ended up in terms of her coming out of the Guardian of Forever and being deposited? We now know, hands down, what she was doing, what year it is. Were you happy with the exposition of it? What were your thoughts about this kind of picking up from terra firma?
I feel like I was satisfied with the explanation. Okay, this is where she ended up. It kind of makes sense. It's only a little bit further down the timeline from when she left. I like that aspect of it, the continuity. I feel like they even set up the part where they explained, we lost contact with her and whatnot. I don't know how we're going to see her going back through the Guardian in this clip, because how would anyone else know that? Some of the things that they're showing on screen, it's more like exposition for the audience member.
Yeah.
But I do like all that. And I think Giorgio is the one redeeming thing of, Michelle Yeoh's acting and whatnot, and how interesting she is to watch on screen, and her accent and everything she is the only reason this movie has any sort of any legs to stand on at all. I feel like this movie, let's just get to the overarching conversation and we'll take it back to her. This movie suffers from probably being a 10-episode season that they truncated down into 99 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I feel like had this been a TV series, we would have seen so much more exposition, even with Giorgio, and a little bit more, explanation. I think certain things were either happened off screen or were turned into quick dialogue instead of things that we would have seen. Yeah. But I do like that it makes sense that she needed to go back in time closer to where she was in the timeline so that she could survive, because she was dying in Discovery's timeline. And I liked all that part.
Great. Amy, you were mentioning earlier about this kind of relationship or no chemistry with San What did you think of this storyline of them two? Did you like it? Did you think it added anything to the film?
I did a little bit. Christos and I were talking about it. Like when we see Giorgio, her being a good person is because of Burnham, right? Her daughter. And now we're having yet another emotional tie with a love interest. And I'm like, it almost detracted and took away from the importance of Burnham in her life, because now we know this happened way before. And if she's, that, I don't know. I just felt it was tug and war with the Burnham motive for me.
Yeah. What do you think about the kind of the character arc or the presence of Giorgio in the film, Kristin?
I want to go back real quick to we were talking about like the influences of other movies. The beginning where they show how the emperor is chosen and it's like this battle. I'm sorry, did they just completely rip off the Hunger Games?
Thank you.
So
another movie. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot that one because I thought about it. Ugh.
Yeah.
I did not understand that plot at all. So please explain it to me.
That was weird. And then she kills her family. I'm sorry. Why? There's.
And from what I understand of the Mirror Universe, it isn't very like general election. You compete to be the emperor. You just kill the emperor and become the new emperor.
Exactly.
Like Hoshi in Enterprise.
And then if she really loved this guy, why didn't she take him as her like husband? Why did she have to burn him and stuff? Oh, burn him.
Yeah. Well, they make it that big deal in the flashback with whoever that woman was who's supposed to be the crazy woman from the Hunger Games. Says whoever wins this, whoever loses this becomes their basically their slave forever.
But why did she have to disfigure him? That just seemed like a completely
she has to show power.
Show power, yeah. If you show deference to him, that would be seen as a sign of weakness.
The whole point of killing her family was about killing any emotional ties and things that could be people that could like use things against her.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt that whole.
Well, speaking of killing your family, what fundamentally, what do we think about a Star Trek film where your main hero character is a genocidal killer? Gene Roddenberry would be literally doing somersaults in his grave.
He would be very upset. He's floating up in space somewhere going, what the?
Yeah. I mean, we've created a problem for ourselves in that the fandom love Philippa Georgiou, but we loved her as a character in Discovery. And, can you have the star of the movie as a murderer?
No, it's kind of. And again, I think that's a testament to Michelle Yeoh's, to her acting and to her pull as an actress, where we just can't help but love her, regardless of what character she plays. But no, that's not Trek. That would be like making, not even Q. She's worse than Q. She's like, I'm trying to think of what other characters maybe killed as many people as she has, like just one singular character, not as a species. But I can't and also at the end when sorry?
Ducat.
Yeah. Again, he's I think he has more redeemable qualities than Giorgio. Or this one anyway.
Okay, Amy, you're champing at the bits. Go on, give it to us.
Yeah, I just felt like her motivation of love that we see with Burnham and now with San, it's not a good enough motivation. I don't understand why this is going to be Star Trek if for me, my Star Trek is when we want to be better as a species, as a group, as the Federation. How can we be better? And the only reason she was doing it was to redeem herself because she made that evil machine. So she was trying to correct, and I guess that's good, but they could have delved into it more. And then this love of another person. To me, Star Trek isn't a love motivation storyline. And so that's why I feel it was just off a little bit for the motivations of the story.
And I'm sorry, I didn't know that was a weapon. When it first opened, I thought it was a music box.
It did. There's a couple of things that I'll touch on here. First up, I did love when Sam allegedly commits suicide. Sam originally commits suicide. I loved Michelle Yeoh, Giorgio's reaction, where she starts to have an emotional reaction. She has to grunt and shake it off. Like, I'm having it. And she pulls herself together to be that bad bitch. I don't know that act would be enough motivation for her to decide she no longer wants this weapon.
But also, did she not? Was there no funeral for Sam? Like, 'cause later we find out that she's surprised that he committed suicide, or that he wasn't actually dead. Like, was there no funeral? Did she not order the disposal of his body? Like, did she just kind of walk away after she thought he was dead and was like, and no one thought to be like, by the way, he's not dead.
Good point.
Kristen, look at you putting out plot holes in a movie
Just
full
more
of
holes than a block of Swiss cheese.
He apparently died right in front of her, and she was just like, okay, I'm just
blood and everything.
Whatever. And he gets up and walks away. Like, what the crap is happening?
Well, let's we are coming up to our 1 hour mark, so let's return to our usual format of assimilations and regenerations, and maybe if we just pick maybe one or two each of the things that we liked and didn't like about the film before we wrap up. I can assume the regenerations list might be bountiful and lengthy, so let's try and stay positive with scraping what did we like from the film. And I'm going to just start by saying, like, the overall production in terms of the musical choices, the text on screen all the time. It looked very different, but I was here for that difference, and I enjoyed that. It was the actual plot for me that didn't measure up, but the look, the sound of the film, loved it.
Yeah, I'll jump in. As was mentioned before, I'm just going to mention it again. God's End, Godsend. I did laugh out loud. That was a highlight. And the fashion, getting Gershua back, dressing Giorgio. That's her favorite person to dress up, I swear. And it shows. It was amazing. The capes and the makeup and the hair and just everything. It was all the characters looked really good. So kudos to Gershua. Glad they got her back again.
Yeah, but before I give mine, I'm going to parlay onto that one. I love that they brought back one of her outfits from Discovery for the scene in which Sam commits suicide in front of her. That was a reuse of and I liked that because it ties it back to the show nicely, and it's not like we're reinventing everything. For me, I'm going to go with some of the Easter eggs because there were very few things that brought it into the Star Trek universe for me. And we had some mentions that if you are a good Trekkie, you're following things along. And one of them was at the end, they're going on a mission to Turkana 4, which is Tasha Yar's planet. And obviously there's going to be that Tasha Yar, yesterday's Enterprise kind of connection there. We get mention of the Minosians, which is a throwback to Arsenal of Freedom with that episode, one of the few times the Enterprise actually separates. So basically they killed themselves with their own weapons. Ambassador Valar, she's from Enterprise, right?
Yeah.
Valar?
Yeah. So it was on the planetary map. They were naming planets that they were
part of the treaty.
Negotiated the treaty for them.
Yeah, and then of course I'll take this one especially because the movie takes place in 2324, which is the birthplace for Beverly Howard, nay Crusher, nay Picard.
Brilliant. Kristin, any assimilations for you?
Well, the assimilations that Amy and Christos have run through are kind of what I would mirror. The fashion was amazing. Michelle Yeoh is just such a phenomenal actress. And for Trek people, we love our Easter eggs, right? We love our I know where that comes from. I think the only other thing that I liked most about this movie was when it was over.
Oh. Ooh.
I'm sorry. I watched it because I had to for this, and I unfortunately did see a few reviews pop up before I got a chance to sit down and watch it. And so seeing everyone kind of be like, oh, blah, blah. I'm going in, I'm like, is it really as bad as everyone's saying it was? And yeah. I mean, I would watch The Final Frontier 10 out of 10 times before I watch this movie again.
Ooh, wow. Any other assimilations for people before we move on, Amy?
Yeah, I was really impressed with that phase shift device that they were using to fight and get the thing away from the Dalton guy. It was creative. It was good. It was smart. It took me back to the next phase with Geordie and Roe. Like, it was good.
It was a little Dune-esque with, but maybe not used exactly in the same way. But I like it.
I love how you guys have all seen these rip-offs of other films that I've not seen, so I would not actually have picked up any of this. So maybe I'm going to it a little purer. Remember when we did Bada Bing, Bada Bang a few weeks ago here on All Good Things, and I said I really like that concept of the original plan, and then they do the same scene again with the revised plan. They kind of did that in here as well. So I enjoyed that with the Vic Fontaine casino heist. Mm-hmm. And then you see the original plan and then Michelle Yeoh's version of the plan to get the box off him as it was back then. So I'm taking that as an assimilation. Okay.
Is that a rip-off of Clue?
It's I think we've seen this film is a rip-off of many things. Shall we head over to, dare I say, to the Regenerations list?
Do we have enough time?
Probably not. So, listeners, this is going to exceed a 1 hour episode. We already have. Right, go on, Kristin. Start us off. What didn't you like about this film? I might set a 30-second timer.
Sure. Well, I mean, again, I will probably watch this movie again. I'm just going to say, because it is still Star Trek, and I maybe through different eyes at some point, I will like more of it. But what both was amazing, I'll give this as both an assimilation and a regeneration, was freaking Jamie Lee Curtis showing up at the end, the queen her freaking self. So now we can say Jamie Lee Curtis is part of the Star Trek family. But that was it.
Mm-hmm.
What was the point?
What was the point? And was she did she have some Borg implants on her? What was on her face?
We don't know.
We don't know, because she was just there for like 10 seconds. And it was just like a bit of I was so excited, but then I was like, and then at the end when they're like, oh, have you ever been to Chicago 4? I was like, oh my God, don't make a second movie. Don't set this up for a sequel.
Why did they call her Control as well? Like all Charlie's Angels. Obviously you just think of Control as the AI in Discovery. So they're not going to go there again. What was the point of?
No.
Well, maybe, Control maybe had to evolve after what happened in Discovery.
So they got rid of the tech and it became a person. It became a role rather than AI.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. That's a bit like modern universe. You think AI is great, but actually a person can do that better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I like that, Christos.
Yeah, I like that it was very Charlie's Angels with that aspect. Charlie's Angels, Mission Impossible. That's what they were going for with all that. Cameo is a cameo. She's probably all she agreed to do. She's good friends with Michelle Yeoh. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Yeah.
I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis will always be one of my favorite. I mean, she's her and Michael Myers in the Halloween will forever be slated as one of my favorite movie series. So I love seeing it now.
Amy, do you want to hit us with a regeneration of your own, please?
Yeah, I felt like it was too bonk on the head, too much exposition, too much. Here's this one part, and then we go to part 2, and then we go to part 3. I'm like, I didn't need to have those separations. So then I didn't know what was it. And it felt like a video game. It felt like a 4-part series. It felt like a little episode. I didn't know what it was, like the type of, you know what I mean?
You're absolutely right, because I think to the point I was making earlier, like every one of those parts, part one, that was probably an episode.
Yeah.
And from the original idea of what it was going to be, that was an episode, and now it's just got to be a 20-minute
I saw it a bit
section
like
of the movie.
Frasier, you know, on Frasier where they just put like the type. It's a little bit like that.
A good movie shouldn't need that type of movement, right? A good movie tells its time and puts the watcher in its place because of the narrative of the script.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think it's a victim of everything we're saying is a victim of probably taking what should have been 5 hours and making it 99 minutes.
Yeah, true. I have a huge regeneration with the continuity. Clearly, you know me, I love it. There's so many different timescales in this film. You've got the young Giorgio, you've got present Giorgio in 23-24, having previously been in 23-57. Yeah. Hang on. Yeah, 23-24, 22-57. See, I'm even confusing myself. So she's a little bit further in the future now than she was when Discovery was set. So, and her mirror universe was at the same time as Discovery. So she came across and then went into this near future. So San has also time traveled. He's not only come to the Prime universe from the mirror universe, he's also chased her from the Discovery time to the Lost Era.
So how?
That was never explained. He just came across. And this portal, the big problem, we're going to open this portal in 23-24 and bring through the Terran Empire to get you. There is no Terran Empire in 23-24. The Alliance has already kicked their butt. They're all slaving away on Terok Nor. So they've got a massive mirror universe continuity problem here that they forgot that all of Deep Space Nine rubbished the Terran Empire away. The Terran Empire became the good guys in a way, if you think of Smiley O'Brien. So to me, that was a major cock up. Really, really bad.
Honestly, like, why did this production company not hire the four of us to write this Korean movie?
Well,
I feel insulted, really.
Agreed. I would say my regeneration would be that you took probably the two biggest non-Starfleety things about Star Trek, that being the Terran Empire and Section 31, the most anti-Federation anything, and you made that the focus of your movie, and you took out all of the Federation. I mean, with the exception of Rachel Garrett, which, you know, we already talked about that. Like, so it just, you know, obviously wasn't Star Trek-y enough. I mean, if it wasn't for like later on we see a transporter being used, you're like, oh, I forgot I was watching Star Trek.
Yeah, you hear the tricorder.
I was saying that was 50 minutes into the movie. We finally heard the tricorder. I paused.
If you think of something like In the Pain Moonlight, which is obviously one of the most celebrated episodes of DS9, they could have done a Section 31 film that enables a heroic outcome because Starfleet can't get their hands dirty in that manner. So there needs to be a need for something to happen. And this is like your Garak connection. There needs to be someone to do the necessary that Starfleet are not allowed to do. And that would have been a better bringing in of Section 31, I feel, rather than it just being Guardians of the Galaxy with a lot of characters that nobody really cares about. There's no backstory. That we're not going to see most of them again, I think. What's the point?
Do you think that maybe that was done on purpose of it's not really Section 31, we're just being outside of Federation space so we can move around easier? But because, you know, Section 31, a lot of Trekkies don't like it because, we need to stay within, you know, our moral boundaries. And with Section 31 always veering off, like maybe they said, we're not going to veer off that much. We're just going to put it in outside of Federation and then call it Section 31.
I don't know. Christos, do you want to share your final thoughts for Section 31, please, sir?
Well, I just feel like it was a total misfire. I mean, maybe it was going to be a good TV series, and it could have been a good TV series. Maybe I see enough of where they were going there. I don't know if it was the network telling them you can no longer make this show because we're overextended, or hey, Michelle Yeoh won't commit to a series anymore, but she will do a TV movie, and that's how this happened. So I think this particular long trek is a victim of one of those two items, because, instead of writing a new movie, they just scrunched down a bunch of scripts into a movie. I hope that it's not judged as the long trek doesn't work. I think even Paramount's brass should be smart enough to know that this movie's bad for the reasons we've listed, and probably bad at because it doesn't try to be Star Trek. It is trying so hard to be everything but Star Trek. So go find another IP to mess up, give us our Star Trek. And I think hopefully, I would love to see more long treks. I hope that, although I think universally this movie's being panned, I hope it doesn't leave the wrong reaction with Paramount.
Yeah. Final thoughts, Amy?
Yeah, that is my concern as well. When I think about, we've got short treks, and season 2 short treks feels a bit like this movie. It was something to be desired more for me. So I hope that it doesn't hurt upcoming productions. To be honest with you, am completely shocked at how much I didn't care for it. I mean, I don't hate it, but I thought that it was going to be so much better. I felt like with this Kurtzman era, they're trying different things. I have been on board. This one did fall extremely flat for me.
This movie was Star Trek in name alone. In everything else, for me, it felt like a reboot of the universe of Fifth Element, just in all of that. And as a fan of the season 3 of Picard in particular, like, I love Picard, but season 3 was just like, gave me life, and how they left that hanging, and how the fans have been screaming for legacy, and then instead this is what we got.
Yeah,
the money could and energies could have been used so much better to produce something that the fans were screaming for, which was
I think my final thoughts have changed a little bit as I've been listening to you. I kind of had my final thoughts prepared in advance, but I wasn't aware of the amount of cannibalization of other franchises and films that you guys have enlightened me on. So in a way, I originally thought that if this wasn't a Star Trek film, it would have just been like a bit of an action romp, and yes, it still was far from perfect or enjoyable, but it would have been like a 6 out of 10 random action film with Michelle Yeoh. It's the Star Trek, it's the absence of Star Trek in Star Trek that is kind of offensive, really. But listening to everything you've just said, it's also very unoriginal now as well. So it's just, it seems like it's a bit of a waste of money. I am conscious though that we have to be a little bit mindful that, Paramount are watching. So I'm interested to see, we'll all go and watch it and then slate it. And then there'll be other people who go and watch it because Michelle Yeoh's in it. So I'm interested to see if it actually gets quite good numbers, even though anyone who's watched it doesn't like it, because that's the future of the franchise. That's how we move things along. So
I think watching it a second time is probably, I think, the only person that's watched it twice. I think watching it the second time, I kind of accepted it for what it is, just how you described it, Kelvin. And I enjoyed it a little bit more overall. Some of the plot stuff, having subtitles on, I pulled a little bit more out of it. I think accepting it for what it was allowed me to maybe enjoy it a little bit more on the second time around, but I don't disagree with everything we've said about it being Star Trek only in name and whatnot. They're ripping off at least 5 or 6 other IPs in one way or another. I mean, that was a lot. There was stuff in here I forgot about, like Dune, Star Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy, Fifth Element, Hunger Games. Those are all elements that are in this movie.
Men in Black.
Men in Black. There's another one.
Yeah.
Geez, that is like 6.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. We weren't around for this necessarily because it was before a lot of our times. But when the original motion picture came out, it fell flat with fans too. Mm-hmm. And what did we get from that? Wrath of Khan.
Oh,
because they completely reorganized and repointed where they were going to go. And they got rid of the pastel uniforms and all of that. And they just moved into a better direction. So maybe we will see that kind of shift come from the reception of this movie.
Love that.
I have a question for everybody. If Michelle Yeoh says, and she already has, I would like to do another one, would you support that?
No.
Like, because you're not going to get that Wrath of Khan, Kristin, otherwise. But would you support that, or are you like, no, go do something else?
Well, we won't say no to her, and I would hope that there's so much learnings from this that I would definitely say yes. And it's purely like what you just said, Kristin, that they can evolve this into something good if they listen and give the people what they want.
Yeah, there would be a lot of change that would be needed, and they would need to pull in people who, I think the problem was a lot of these actors have no necessary connection to Trek. So, and you could see, I could feel the like, this is just a line in a movie and I'm getting a paycheck. It was for me, like, find someone, you got to be able to find someone who's got some sort of connection or some sort of passion, because this is one of those franchises where we are like, this is life for us. And for to pull in people to be part of the who are just sort of like meh about their own acting, that came through. I felt that through.
They acted the line.
Yeah, they don't care to be there. I don't care to watch them. And let's see what's next.
Well, indeed. Let's see what's next. But before we do, I think we'll hit the BQN promo.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristin. Whether you've got Xbox or Nintendo, check out Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey and Mitch, self-proclaimed gamers who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. Grab your popcorn as you listen to Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed but should definitely check out, hosted by Mark and Matt. Don your apron for The Food Replicator, where Matthew eats and drinks his way through Star Trek Cocktail and 3 cookbooks. Beam aboard Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Steven. In order to not repeat it, listen to History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissie and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissie and Thad. Curl up with a good book and delve into beta canon with Peter, host of the Trek Book Club on Twitter and Bluesky, and his companion Trek Book Club podcast. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey and MC. If you're a member of Starfleet Federation or Planetary Union, go check out Union Federation, covering current Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Head over to YouTube and watch The View Screen live on Sundays, your Trek-inspired talk show hosted by Kelvin and Amy, with new 8-week seasons in the spring and fall. Spill the tea with Christos while he discusses current Trek news and events and explores the world of fandom via guest interviews, all with an LGBTQIA+ perspective on What's the Tea, Bev? And for our patron members, we have the Hive Mind with script readings and roundtable discussion. It's Green, a cornucopia of topics, and Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek. You can keep up with all of these shows by following the network at BQN Podcasts on Instagram and Bluesky. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
So what is next? Amy Nelson, please, would you like to introduce next week's episode, please?
Well, for our longtime listeners, if you remember at the beginning of All Good Things, we were introducing new series after new series, week after week, and you've asked for it. We're giving it to you, a new series. This is going to go off, taking it from the top, and now we're going to call this That's a Wrap. That's right. We are going to cover the last episode of every series. I'm not going to say series finale because some of them don't have finales. So I'm just going to say the last episodes of every series. And so we are going to start with our original series, Turnabout Intruder.
We would love to hear what you thought of today's episode, and we hope you'll join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, or on our Discord server to continue the discussion there. You can reach us at All Good Pod on Bluesky, so please make sure you follow us on Bluesky and Instagram at BQN Podcasts. We've also partnered with our friends at the Fandom Podcast Network, where you can find us by searching the master feed, and the links can be found in the show notes. So, Christos, where can people find you when you are not putting on the world's worst and most offensive Irish accent?
Oh, you're going to put that at my doorstep, are you? Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Well, I am continuing to have my little timeout from Meta. So you can find me over on Bluesky at Greek Geek SD, in our Discord server. I think that's it.
He's boycotting.
Hey. And if you're lucky enough to have my phone number, you can text me. And Amy, where can people find you when you're not phasing in and out of this universe?
Well, when I'm not doing that, you can find me here on the network, co-hosting Union Federation. And we will also be covering Section 31. So if you want to hear more of my thoughts, please check me out there. I am on Bluesky at Counselor Amy. So that's a good place. I'm really enjoying it there and in our Discord server. I'm also taking a little break from Meta. So yeah. So Kristin, where can people find you when you aren't Empire of the Galaxy?
Oh, I wish.
I was just, listeners, on the cruise, Kristin did this amazing pose in the captain's chair, looking fierce. Like, this is Emperor Kristin. So that is why I made that reference.
That is still my profile picture on both the Instagram and Facebook. And again, too, I'm trying to move away from Meta as well, which would just mean I would not be on anything. I'm not really a Blue Sky person. I guess then that's just Reddit for me at Garaksfanclub. I have heard rumblings that the crew that started Blue Sky is actually in the works for their own photo sharing app. So maybe we'll have a new place to land, the new non-racist Instagram. So I'm hoping for that. But for now, I hate this timeline. I hate our timeline. Anyway, Kelvin, where can people find you when you're not pondering whether to kill your family to assume leadership as the emperor?
You know, I have a very loose relationship with my family. It'd pay the mortgage off. Right. I don't think I'd rule the empire, though. Well, speaking of being morally bankrupt, you can find me all over Meta at Kelvin's Timeline. I am still on Instagram, Facebook, and even Twitter. So have that. I'm not boycotting anything that I have spent years developing a list of followers for. But when I'm not doing that, you can also find me in the BQN Collective Facebook group. I do try and dip in and out of Discord, especially now it's the only way I'm going to get to talk to my friends. And I might have to give my postal address soon so people can write a letter to me. That might be how we start communicating soon. And here on the network, we are in final preparations to bring back the view screen in a few weeks' time. So I look forward to seeing all of the listeners and viewers over there soon, I hope.
All right. Two things here before I continue us on. I think that Bluesky Instagram is called Flashes, and it's coming sooner than we think. So fingers crossed that gets launched. I will say just a quick shout out. Hey, whether you like this movie or not, turn on Paramount Plus, hit play, walk in the other room, do what you got to do. But let's get the viewership up for this because we do want more. So, hey, make sure you stream it. You don't have to watch it.
These
Good
reviews
point.
don't mean we don't like Star Trek. We just didn't like this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So here at the BQN, we'll never make you listen to an ad. And if you'd like to keep our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can join our Hive Mind reaction show, script readings, and enjoy our special patron-only shows of It's Green, Amy's Math Moments. Please visit patreon.com/BQN to get all the details.
If becoming a patron isn't your thing, you can still support the show by sharing our posts on social media, talking about it with your friends, or hitting the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leaving us a star rating and written review. Unless it's a 1-star, then you can just move along. We don't need your feedback. But that helps others to find your show. Our show, this show.
At this time, we would like to thank our very own associate producers, Mahendran Radhakrishnan and JJ Seastrum. A special thanks to Graham Kelly for our opening and closing music, to Mark White for our show brand artwork, and to Kelvin for our episode artwork.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you'll join us.
As we search out
All good things.